Thanks for joining us today. I'm Gabe Garish, owner of Backwoods Pursuit, and today we are going to do an Initial Ascent pack review. I'm going to go over this pack. This is the Initial Ascent IA4K. Got a couple different bag sizes here. We're going to go over this pack. Now, the Initial Ascent packs have a number of unique features. You're going to want to stick around. I'm going to go over those features, as well as go over how this thing performed for me personally over about a year of testing with this pack. As always, hit that subscribe button and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and check out our website, backwoodspursuit.com, as well. Put links to all that down in the description, as well as a link to the Initial Ascent pack. Looking for honest backcountry gear reviews? Well, you're in the right place, because here at Backwoods Pursuit, that's what we do. We bring you gear reviews based on our use and actual field testing of the gear. Stick around for our good, bad, and ugly segment, where we go over what was good about the product and what maybe could be better. Let's jump into this review. All right, so let's kick this off with some of the specs you get here with this Initial Ascent IA4K pack. It's listed as a 4,000 cubic inch pack, but you get about 4,500 cubic inches when you include the lid, as I have it set up here. So you got the bag, the lid here, and then the Pannier load carrier. With all of that, you come in at just under 6 pounds. And then, of course, you can see here I've got also a hip belt pocket. It's about 5.95 pounds for that setup there. So still a fairly lightweight pack, particularly for the load hauling ability that you get here with this pack. Now I'm going to flip this around here. I'm going to show you what you get with the harness system. You've got a preformed harness system here, which is really comfortable. It is a high density foam inside there, and again, preformed, so it really forms your shoulders really well that way. Here on the lumbar pad, you got a really substantial lumbar pad. If I flip it up that way, you can just see just how large that is, and it really is comfortable particularly when you're hauling a heavy load. It's really high density foam here, multiple layers in there, and it is super substantial. For me personally, it works really well, because I have found that a real thick lumbar support pad really works best for me. So really good that way. The other parts of the hip belt here, you got a 3-section hip belt, the 2 sides, and then the lumbar support there. This is high density foam as well, and I wouldn't say it's the most comfortable in the sense of it's not real cushy feeling, because you do have high density foam here, which is going to last longer. So it's that trade-off of comfort versus durability. It is still very comfortable, but not as soft and cushy feeling as some of the other ones that I've tried. But it was a really comfortable system for me overall with the way this was designed. Next up, let's jump into this frame. This is their carbon frame. It's the carbon triaxial frame is what they call it. It's gone through a bunch of renditions. I don't even know how many. It's probably over 30 by the time I've made this video here. And it features some unique things here. It's very rigid. It's not like some of the other carbon frames you might have tried out there. It is super rigid. It almost gives you more of a packboard type of a feel, the way that it is rigid as it is. All right, pulled that lid off here. I wanted to show you one of the unique things about this carbon triaxial frame. As you can see here, I'll bring this in a little bit closer for you. You can see you've got these cutouts right here on both sides of the frame. And what that does for you, gives you a place to sling your rifle if you would like to do so, if you're rifle hunting. It is really nice. If you've ever had an issue when you're out hunting and you've been able to have your rifle sliding off your shoulder, this is a way that's built right into the frame here. It solves that problem. I used it that way during a bunch of my rifle hunting this last year. Works awesome. So that's one of the unique features. And again, it's just a really stiff type of a frame. It gives you just great load hauling ability. All right, let's get into the design of this bag now. You might not be able to tell all that well, because I don't have this thing fully loaded just yet, but the way that this bag is designed, it's designed to be wider at the top, and then it narrows as you get down to the bottom of the bag. The reason they did that is to make sure that you're keeping a majority of your gear higher or in the midsection of this bag, so it doesn't end up at the bottom of your pack where you don't want it, as far as the most efficient way to carry weight with a pack. So that's an awesome design here. So you've got a snow collar here that gives you extra extra space up on the top of the pack. Now out on the front of the bag, you've got a couple of stretch pockets. Of course, your 2 lateral compression straps here. So you got a smaller one up on top and then a larger one right here that you can, I put like my first aid and that kind of thing that's right out here on the outside if I need it real quick. Maybe a sit pad or something up here, whatever you want to do. But those are nice and handy. Those stretch pockets are super nice. As far as with the way you get into this pack, of course, you can go in through the top. That's one easy way to do that. And then you also have 2 full-length openings, one on each side of the pack here. So that makes getting in either side really nice and easy, and then you have access to all of your gear that way. I personally really like the U-shaped zipper. That's my personal preference. It's something you get used to. It's one of the things that I would love to see in this pack is a nice U-shaped zipper. I know they offer that in the 2K. Maybe we'll see that in a 4K. That would be awesome. But it still works really well. You got great access to all your gear. It just makes it a little bit more difficult to load than something with a nice U-shaped zipper. On the sides of the pack here, this is something that's really unique to this Initial Ascent pack that I really, really like. So of course you have your compression straps like you do with most packs that hold this to the frame. What is different here is that you've got, of course you got your stretchy pocket there, but here is a tripod pocket, and it's only about half length of the entire bag. So you stick your tripod legs down in here, and then on both sides actually you've got this strap here that's just designed to hold your tripod, which I found to be super useful because you really don't need a full-length pocket for your tripod. So I thought that was a really great design. I've used packs with a full-length pocket on both sides and this, and I found that I really liked this design. Flipping it over on this side, this is your full-length pocket here. So if you want to put your spotting scope on this side, there you have your full-length pocket there. And I had a Koa 88 in here, and it fit just fine. So it fits, your large spotters all the way down to, of course, something compact, and then you got an elastic drawstring on top of that to keep that nice and secure. Now you've also got on this side that same strap right here. So if you just want to strap something into this stretch pocket, because you have one of these stretch pockets on both sides, down through here, right? That's another option as far as your tripod or whatever you want to strap on there. Your trekking poles, that works really well there. Really a great design. I found that just really worked well for me. Spotting scope on this side, tripod on this side, and then you can either add your trekking poles on either side, whatever's going to work best for you. Next, let's look at a couple more of the unique features that you get with this Initial Ascent pack. First one I want to highlight that I absolutely love about this thing is the way that they've done their center zip pocket here on the lid. This gives you a ton of space, and it just seemed like it made everything more accessible rather than the lid along the top and you're digging down in the bottom here. That center zip, it seemed like things didn't fall out of the pack as much on me. And the overall size of the lid as well as that center zipper is just something that I loved about this. The lid here is larger than others that I've used, and I really like that. I found myself using this to keep everything that I needed readily accessible right here in the top of the lid, and it made it really nice. So I just loved that feature about this pack. Another one is also here on the lid. Now this is something that I think is an awesome design. It keeps this lid staying right here so it's not sliding down the pack, so it's not moving anywhere on you. You've got these cutouts right here in the top of the lid right there. So that frame pokes through right there on both sides, and when that thing is latched on, I use this for, like I said, about a year and never had that lid move on me at all. Love that. It just keeps that exactly where you left it and right where you want it. Now, of course, you got a ton of accessories that you can purchase for your pack here. I've got the hip belt pocket and the load carrier, the Pannier load carrier on the inside here. I'll pull this apart and show you that real quick. That's another one that I highly recommend if you're going to pick up one of these packs. And again, I'll put a link in the description to this pack and to a bunch of the accessories that I've used and found to be really useful. Make sure you check that out there if you're interested and want to check out more information on it. The system is really designed to be used always with the lid, and that's kind of one of the designs. One of the unique things another here is that you've got in addition to just a pocket for like your tags and that kind of thing, you've got a Velcro pocket up on top of the lid right here, and this is designed to carry up to a 2-liter bladder. So that goes right in through there. So if you all want to dump the pack itself and leave that somewhere, you throw your bladder in here. As long as this one of their 2-liter bladders, it works really well in here. Throw that in your lid with the Pannier load carrier, and you're good to go for ultralight type of a setup. Dump your camp where you want to go and just take off from there. So let's pull this apart. I'll show you the Pannier load carrier here, and to do that, you're going to take your load lifters right here, pull those two off, and then that's going to allow you to pull this away from the frame. You got your strap right here, so you're going to unlatch that from the top of the frame here, and then of course your compression straps on both sides, and then the second one down here and right there, and then that's going to open up that pack like that, so you're ready to go into meat hauling mode and go ahead and pack out your animal. So this here is the Pannier load carrier. It buckles on right to the top of the frame. It opens up just like some of your other meat hauling type of accessories. So you've got that, and then you also have your compression straps that are also strapped to the frame here. You got one on the top, and then you have the Pannier load carrier, which strapped right on there. You can see you got a little bit of blood stain there still from packing out my deer with this. Strapped right on there, and then that's where you're going to go ahead and put your animal when you're packing that out. So it works really well. Now for me personally, the way that I ran this system was I used this for my 3-liter bladder, because I like to take more than just 2 liters, and then that lid there, you can only take up to 2 liters. So I put that here in the Pannier load carrier, and then just ran the hose, of course, right up through there. That worked really well, and then that kept everything right here where I wanted it. So that's the way I use that. I do wish there was a little bit easier way to get to that, or a little bit easier way to carry that 3-liter or 2.5-liter bladder like I've been using. It's not a big deal, but it is something that I think that the change might be in the works as far as the way this attaches. But anyways, that's the way that hooks back up, just right there. And then of course just reattach all 4 of your buckles all the way around. Another one of the accessories that I would recommend picking up if you're going to be in any kind of wet weather is their rain fly or rain cover. This thing just weighs, I forget what it is, I think just a couple of ounces is all, and it comes in this nice little stuff sack you can throw in anywhere in this pack, and it really works well. There's been a lot of other tests, I've seen some other videos guys doing to see how this thing repels water, and it really does awesome that way. The stuff sack sticks to it right there. Just open that up, goes right like that, throw it on over the pack, and it's got plenty of room if you're fully loaded out, and that thing is going to keep your pack absolutely dry. There's a bunch of other videos out on YouTube there that you can watch to see how this performed. The reason I like these, they also offer a dry bag. I kind of prefer the rain covers like this just for the purpose of, you don't have to worry about digging through the dry bag and worrying about the material of the pack getting wet itself and adding weight to the overall size of the pack. It's personal preference there, that's just mine. Okay, now for the good, bad, and ugly segment on this pack. Start with the things that I really loved about this pack. I loved the way this thing hauled a heavy load. Like I mentioned earlier, I use this on training hikes, 70, 80 pounds, and even had the chance to pack out my entire mule deer buck here in Idaho this year. Weighed the load after I got back, and it was about 125 pounds on the scale. Took the entire thing out with this, and it did phenomenal. It really handled the load well. And I meant to, but I forgot to try packing out with the 2 rifle sling or the little edges here on the pack. That's another way that you can pack out, and that's just one of the things, the versatility that I love about this. You can hook the hind leg here and the hind leg here, or even the front leg if you want, hang the quarters on the side of the pack, and then also load up through the Pannier load carrier. Just another way and another thing that is super versatile about this. But at any rate, I love the way this thing hauled a heavy load. One of the reasons I liked that, of course, like I mentioned earlier, is that super thick lumbar pad right here. It just really did an awesome job. It was really comfortable for me. The rubberized coating or cover here really helped that from slipping down. I didn't have any issue that way. Another thing I really loved about that, as I mentioned earlier, is the center zip here on the lid. and just how big this lid is. I even found myself putting my jet boil and that kind of thing, just so it's real easy. You don't have to dig into the pack here to get stuff that you just want to grab real quick. A couple things I loved about the way that this pack functioned and operated. Like I mentioned earlier, I just love the way that this half pocket works with a tripod on this side, spotting scope on this side. Just really liked that. And like I mentioned, the two hooks here for your rifle sling, one on each side. You can flip it from one side to the other. Works awesome. It's ingenious that way, just because that's always the struggle. There's a number of products out there that can help with that, but when it's built right into your pack, you can negate having to get anything extra for that. They do have, of course, a rifle sling or rifle carrier that you can use as well, but that's built right into the pack. And finally, I really like the Pannier load carrier. Absolutely recommend picking up that or that package if you're gonna pick one of these packs up. Just functions really, really well. Has a lot of different purposes. Can be used as a part of a day pack if you want to go super light, or as your meat hauling abilities that way. So those are things that I liked the most about this. Now for a couple things I didn't really care for in this pack quite as much. Probably my number one complaint about this is the way that you have to access if you use a 3-liter bladder or even a 2.5. It was just a little annoying over the course of a year to have to take out the load carriers right here to be able to pull the bag off and then refill your bladder on a daily basis. Now, I don't know, but I hear there might be some considerations of changes to make it so you don't have to do that. That would be a fantastic change, because that's really my number one complaint, or the thing that I disliked the most from the pack. It's a small annoyance, but over the course of a season, having to pull it apart to refill your bladder every day, it kind of is something you don't look forward to at the end of the day. Another thing I thought could be better was I had the strap come out here a couple of times on me. It just would pull out there at inopportune times. So that'd be just a super easy, quick fix, and sewing that over. I think the folks at Initial Ascent are aware of that, and they're going to be making a change there anyways, but wanted to mention that. Another thing that wasn't my favorite, just on a day-to-day wear type of a thing, was just how rigid the pack is. Again, like we talked about, that there's pros and cons to that. It allows it to be a phenomenal load hauler, but you can feel that rigidity on a day-to-day basis, so it's not quite as comfortable in some ways as others out there. On this side of the pack, like I mentioned earlier, I do like that U-shaped zipper, and it's on their 2K, but not on the 4K here. Something that would love to see on this 4K. It's not a big deal, but it's just a preference kind of a thing. And so that's another thing that wasn't my favorite about this pack. And finally, the last thing that it wasn't my favorite is the snow collar type of a setup. Again, it's not a big deal. It's just being nitpicky here. I found that I do prefer a roll top a little bit more than a snow collar. So it's, kind of your personal preference on that, but that is mine. So that is my experience. Overall, I loved this pack. This is a phenomenal pack, and one that I would highly recommend you taking a look at. Hauls a load incredibly well. It's really well laid out, really well thought out. 500D Cordura. It's super durable, and they stand behind their product too. So if you have any issues or problems whatsoever, they will take care of you. So Initial Ascent IA4K pack with the triaxial carbon frame. I know they just came out here recently with a ladies frame as well. So if you are a lady and looking for a pack that's designed for you, definitely take a look. There's not a lot of ladies packs out there that are designed like this for you specifically. So awesome there as well. Take a look. Link down in the description to the Initial Ascent packs. Go check them out. Drop any questions, comments down in the comment section there. We'll answer every single one of them for you. Thanks for joining us here today. We'll see you next time.